addressing the second part of your question on how do we assess the needs and priority of the collaboration. As healthcare practitioners, we are guided by the World Health Organization's a concept of ending AIDS by the year 2030. And ending AIDS by the year 2030 comes with responsibilities, both by us healthcare workers and as well as by the communities. So the responsibility of the health sector, or say for instance of the Ministry of Health and Social Services and its stakeholders, is to ensure that mechanisms are put in place whereby the health of the communities are made accessible to them and as well as affordable to them. So the community members as well have the responsibility to make sure that whatever the ministry has put in place is utilized. Those services are actually being utilized by the community, and also that the communities are educated on the service, on the available services.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well put. Dr. Talavera, as Ms. Ashikoto alluded to, you have the expertise. You have a track record stretching for over what, 15, 20 years now almost?
20 years.
Of working with youth, working on the issue of specifically HIV and AIDS. And we would then like to understand, because Ms. Ashikoto alluded to the fact that you do a lot of community mobilization. Can you please take us through the methodology of how you and or your involved communities in these engagements and the importance of community mobilization?
Look, I think as was mentioned, there's no need having a lot of services and having wonderful concepts such as U equal U if nobody knows about it. So the first step is to bring the message to people in a language that they can understand. When we talk about HIV, people can think, oh, it's boring. Another talk about HIV.
Exactly.
We've been there for the last 20 years. So we try to make it interesting. We try to make it appealing. The fact is that for the last 3 years, we talked a lot about COVID. We haven't talked so much about HIV. And a lot of people might be under the wrong impression that HIV does not exist anymore and is gone, which is not the case. HIV is a virus, and the virus is still there. The fact that there is another virus, COVID, does not mean that this one is not here anymore. So we have to find ways of bringing the conversation back to the community and tell people, look, there has been COVID, that's true, but there's also still HIV. And do that in a language they can understand. There's no point in using complicated words like untransmittable if people don't understand what untransmittable is. So through our work, by using art in the sense of dance, drama, films or whatever, we try to put those complex issues into simple visual head. Because as you saw in the video, if people see something, they will then understand more than if they just hear about it or even read about it. So when we go to communities, when we perform with our dance troupe, when we show our movie like Kapana, that's what we do. We present something that people can see, can watch, can relate to, and then from there they can start asking questions. And that's how you can sort of break down those complicated issues into simple terms that people can start to think, okay, actually it's not that complicated. All I have to do is take my ARV, right and on time and every day, then I will protect myself because ultimately my health will be better. I will protect my partner because ultimately I cannot transmit the virus. It's particularly important for young people, but also for adults who might want to start a family. There's been a lot of debate over the years about what if I'm positive or negative? How do we get a child? You can get a child. You just have to understand the importance of the treatment and the fact that it's not a punishment, this treatment, but it's actually something that will help you get better and live a better life with your loved ones.
Exactly. Wow. It's true. Something visual that is appealing to your senses that helps you to relate with the message that is being brought across. I like that approach, and the fact that the stakeholders have found a balancing ground where they can try and use all their expertise in one pot to try and ensure that we try and educate and protect our people. I would like to remind you that our platform here is one of educating each other. It's one of having a conversation with each other. You might be teaching us something that we do not know about that is happening in the community. So please do join this conversation. You can do so using our social media platforms through which we are live streaming this show. On Facebook, you can find us at Ministry of Information and Communication Technology, Republic of Namibia. That is Ministry of Information and Communication Technology, Republic of Namibia. We're also live streaming through our YouTube platform, and our handle there is MICT Namibia, MICT Namibia. You can give us a call in the studio as well. Our number here is 061, being the area code, 400-397. 400-397. That's the number in the studio. So while we're waiting for you to come and join us in this conversation, I'd like to then ask Mr. Dilenga, U equals U conference dialogue on adherence to HIV prevention and treatment. What is the conference all about?
So basically, the conference is all about U equals to U, undetectable equals to untransmittable. We really want to create, to give information to the public and everyone involved in the fight against HIV and more young people that are involved in this fight. Because the conference basically to be, it's not really a conference to say, because when you say conference, young people tend to turn away and say it's long meetings and all. It's a youth, let's just keep it as a U equals to U dialogue, where we are going to give information on to the public on U equals to U. And actually, maybe it's because we live in a world where we are learning from each other as well. They might come teach us something, one, two, or three things. So it will be taking place on the 24th of this month. The venue will still communicate on the venue. We'll make sure that we'll let everyone know on the venue. It's still to be decided. And then, so the first day, basically we have where we have our high-profile people, delegates that are coming to, keynote speakers that are coming to give more information on U equals to U and speak on U equals to U. We are looking at the presence of the Office of the First Lady. We are looking at the presence of the Office of the Ministry of Health. And then a representative from the partner UNICEF as well. So, and then more young people, actually. We want to see more young people out there to attend this conference. The first day is the second day. The second day is it will be basically us young people networking, because we believe young people are the future. So we want to have a program that is focusing on young people only and discussing on the area. How can we best take U equals to U to the community? How do we address 2 or 3 things in the community? Because we are going with U equals to U to them in the communities, in their different communities with different challenges. So we want to actually learn from them or know what are the challenges and how best we can make sure that U equals to U, the U equals to U concept works within their community.
Okay, okay. Thank you for that one. Dr. Talavera, Mr. Dileka just mentioned that, you know, there will be a strong focus on conversations taking place amongst the youth for them to try and figure out how best to take this message. And as an expert, you are spearheading, along with Oyo, the community mobilization engagement efforts in the Zambezi, Khomas, as well as Erongo regions. We would like you to now just tell us a bit more about these engagements And why these 3 regions specifically?
Okay, maybe I start with the end of your question. Why those 3 regions? Because we can't be everywhere at the same time.
That's also true.
You know, we have to start somewhere,
Yes.
and hopefully that is a start. So
Yeah.
we are starting in the Zambezi, then Comas, then Erongo, but hopefully we'll see what happens there. But hopefully next year we can continue in other regions, because it's something that should reach all the corners of Namibia. But we can't. We have to be realistic. We can't be everywhere at the same time. It's sort of coinciding as well with World AIDS Day, which is on the 1st of December.
Yeah.
So it's a good time to launch it. It's a good time to start it.
Yes.
And then hopefully next year more will happen.
Yeah.
The idea of those community mobilization is that in various communities in Zambezi or in Erongo or in Comas, we will spend an afternoon with the community. We call it spending an afternoon with the community.
Yeah.
So we rather around 12:30, and then from 1 o'clock we'll start performing with the Oyo dance troupe to attract people who are on lunch break or people who go out of school if there is still school at that time. And then we start discussing with them. After the performance, we have activities like condom demonstration, we have some games. We'll try to have a TikTok challenge for those who are interested in dancing a little bit and being part of the challenge for the youth, because they like TikTok and they like social media as well. Then we continue performing around 5 o'clock when people are getting out of work and looking out of work, and then we'll show our movie Kapana as soon as the sun is setting down. Then people can watch the movie. And throughout that afternoon, there's also a service provider. In this case, we'll work with the Valvis Bay Corridor group, and they will provide HIV testing, HIV treatment. So if you are found positive, you can get directly onto ART. If you are found negative, you can be told about PrEP, which is also a pill that you can take to prevent HIV if you are negative. So there will be some experts, some people, some nurses that will be present, that will also be able to give the right service to the right person. But of course, to get the right service, it all starts by you being tested. If you don't know your status, you can't access the right service. You can't get on ART if you don't know you are positive. You might not be able to access PrEP if you don't know you are negative. So that's the idea. So we call them spending an afternoon with the community, and we really are with people for the afternoon. And people come, they go, they mingle, they ask questions, they can get tested if they want to, they can get access to information. There's brochures and posters that the Youth Empowerment Group has produced. They will also have a chance to watch the video that we saw at the beginning of this emission. So that's a lot of things that the community will be able to do, and hopefully they'll be given a choice to get to know their status and to get to access services.
Okay. I like the fact, because to me now my brain is taking it another step where we are creating an extension of the dialogue that Mr. Dilenga spoke about, and we're spreading it over a longer period of time, over a larger area, away from just the venue, that the conference, or dialogue rather, will be taking, actually interacted with, entertained, yet at the same time taught. And I think the youthful activities, we all have a bit of youth in us. They tend to attract even the not so youth, or should I call them the senior youth. They get attracted to this as well. Speaking,
if I might say something, I mean, it's complementary, because for the conference you have to bring people in, but you cannot bring everybody in.
Exactly.
I mean, that would be too costly and there would be too many people. So the conference is bringing people in, and then after those people as well who have been trained will be part of the community mobilization with us to go out. So then you give back to the community. You don't keep the knowledge for yourself, but you keep it back to the community.
Shared learning.
Exactly.
Nice concept. We're speaking about the community and how each plays a role with regards to assisting, educating, and sometimes also just giving that bit of comfort that motivates for the person to either do the right thing or actually make sure that they stay on their treatments. At this point, we would like to then have a short video once again to just, give us another form of message that involves community assistance.
Support adolescents living with HIV.
Martha, don't forget that you have to go for your checkup and pick up your medication at the clinic tomorrow, my baby.
But why?
Hey, that's so...
Timo never has to go to the clinic.
Because Timo does not need medication.
It's not fair. Just because I'm HIV positive, I have to do all these embarrassing things. The people at the clinic, they stare at us in the HIV queue with those judgy faces. And I know exactly what they're saying about us. I'm not going.
Don't say that. Putting up with a few dirty looks and gossip is a small price to pay for your health.
That's easy for you to say.
Martha, I know it's not easy, my baby. But you're strong. You have a bright future ahead of you. Besides, those gossips, they'll be quiet when you reach your dreams.
You're right, Granny. Let them gossip. I can handle a few uncomfortable hours. Thank goodness for these.
You see?
Sorry for shoving you, Timo.
I forgive you.
I did not treat you so well, my child. But I'm doing better with your lovely girl.
Break the cycle of stigma. Love and support go a long way. Brought to you by the Namibian Ministry of Health and Social Services in conjunction with UNICEF.
There we have it. As I said, it's very short videos, but with very strong messages. What I liked about the second one was that depiction where, and it comes out more at the end, where you can see Gogo learned something over the years, and she's honest enough to say, I didn't treat you well, but obviously you can see that she has learned and opened up herself to learning more about clearly the virus and what needs to take place so that she can motivate her granddaughter even better, and make sure that she keeps her granddaughter. And that comes from education and shared learning, like you were saying, Dr. Silvera. And it's with this that I would then like to ask Ms. Ashikoto, in what way would adolescents and young people with HIV benefit from these collaborations, such as the one that you have between OYO, YEG, as well as the Ministry of Health?
Okay, thank you for the question. So young people specifically are living in fear of being stigmatized because of their HIV statuses. So, for example, the young people that are school-going children in boarding schools, you find out that some of them actually give up on taking their ARVs. It's not everybody else that is taking them, so they feel that are in love relationships that are living with HIV. They also, go through rejections once their partners learn that they have HIV. So they dump them, and they actually feel different and feel hopeless because they are unable to find love. So I hope the collaboration on the U is equal to U education, sensitization for community members and as well as for young people will break, the chain of stigma, since more young people are going to be educated, knowing exactly what it means for someone that lives with HIV. and knowing exactly for those that are HIV positive, for them to learn that, if they take their medications and they are virally suppressed, they cannot, and for the ones that are HIV negative, they will also be capacitated, to know that being in a relationship, say for instance, in a love relationship with someone that is HIV positive, is not always the fact that they will also end up having HIV, but there's a way that they can remain HIV negative once their HIV positive partner is undetectable. Yeah. So I hope this campaign will really bring about more openness, also on the side of the young people that are living with HIV to disclose their HIV statuses to the partner. Something that we are currently struggling with, because not everybody out there is educated and really understanding what living with HIV means. Yes.
And as you say, it's hopefully through programs like these that we get the opportunity to just enhance that education, to emphasize and spread it and just hammer it in. That, as you said, he is asking, according to both the Michael Lipsky street level bureaucracy, I think this is another question here. Pardon us for that one. We've got another question that is directly pertaining to the topic. It is also from Richard Kambinda. If Namibia is majority youth, why aren't our educators and teachers not part of this discussion? Kambinda, we can only fit so many people on our stage. Unfortunately, we would love to have everybody that plays a role shy away from taking their medication. I think the question that I would then like to ask, I don't know who will be able to take it though, is it ties into what Mr. Kambinda is saying, but I want to find out for this particular dialogue, for this particular event, launching of this whole program, do we have educators on board that are part of the program, for example, not just giving a speech at the opening, but really interacting in the rest of the agenda for the event, or even along with your shows at the various regions? Are they involved? Maybe I can start with Dr. Talavera.
There's both a yes and a no part of the answer. I think ultimately you're right. Everybody has a role to play, and particularly in schools, teachers, life skills teachers, and other educators have a huge role to play in terms of carrying this message of you equal you, particularly for teenagers who are living with HIV. We need to remember and to be a little bit sensitive toward our educators now. That's exams time. I think educators have a lot of other things to do right now. And World AIDS Day is on the 1st of December, and unfortunately, it's never the right time for the schools. I mean, it's an international day, so we didn't choose when World AIDS Day will be. It falls at a time when schools are finishing their exams, are closing off, so it's never the right time to involve the schools. It doesn't mean that they will not be involved next year. And I think hopefully a part of this campaign is that a lot of people will know about it. I mean, as far as I understand, those videos will be playing on NBC on a regular basis. I'm pretty sure UNICEF will make them available to the Ministry of Education, Art and Culture as well. From our side as well, because we work with a lot of schools, we'll share them with the schools we work with. But it has to happen at a time when the school and the educators are available. And now is not the right time. I mean, November is not a good time for them.
Okay, that's understandable highly. And especially with the new changed curriculums over the past few years, these times of the year have become quite sensitive for them. So thank you very much. And as Dr. Talavera is saying, it's not the end. It's just the beginning of a program that will be, as he said, they can't be everywhere all the time at the same time. So they're rolling it out. So hopefully we get an opportunity to include our educators and our learners more intensely on this program. But Mr. Lilenga, let me get back to you. You did allude to the dates for this dialogue. As you advised, let's not say conference, because people tend to think it's this whole serious thing. So I'll stick to dialogue. So if you can maybe just highlight those dates to us again. But more importantly, we want to know, this is a 2-day event. Who is eligible to attend to this dialogue?
Okay. I when it comes to eligibility, I don't feel like it should be included. It should be included in that, because everyone is eligible to attend. Everyone that it's especially more of the youth. I personally would like to see more young people attending, whether they are HIV positive, whether they are HIV negative. Because You Equals to You doesn't just address one party; it addresses all. So, and if we really want to go far, we have to have everyone on board. So you guys mentioned it. So everyone is eligible to attend. Everyone is invited to attend.
Okay. Stretching from Mr. Nilenga's response to that particular question, I'll then like to ask you, Dr. Talavera, how's the nation's attitude or response to the You Equals You dialogue and community mobilization engagement activities so far?
I think that's a difficult question because it's very new. It's not a new concept globally. I mean, we've been talking about You Equal You for the past 4 or 5 years. But I think because of COVID and the whole interruption of COVID, it hasn't really reached Namibia much. We did some work in July with UNAIDS in Comas, only in Comas, so I can't speak for the rest of the country, but only in Comas. And we took this chance to ask people, what do they know about You Equal You? And honestly, barely 1/3 of the people had any idea what that means. And I think it's fair enough. For the last 2 years, there's been so much talk about COVID that we've completely forgotten about HIV. So if you ask me now, I think most of the committee members don't really know about it and won't really understand this You Equal You. And it's something that is both very simple to understand and very difficult if you don't have the biological background. Because if you are HIV positive, you will remain HIV positive for the rest of your life. Even if you are on treatment, there's always some viruses in you. But if you take your treatment, the quantity of the virus in you is too small. And there's a rule, which is a biological rule, that to infect someone, you need to transmit enough virus. So if you don't have enough virus in yourself, you cannot transmit the virus. It doesn't mean that you are cured. And that's a little bit of a concern for some people. They don't understand, if I can't transmit, does it mean I am cured? No, it doesn't mean you are cured. It means that you have such a small quantity in your body that you cannot infect someone else. But you still have to take your medication, because if you stop taking your medication, this small quantity will take the chance to start growing again. So there's a lot of education to be done, a lot of myth to tackle, and that will happen over time. It's not something that is simple. But hopefully, by starting now with the conference, then going to the first communities in Zambezi, Erongo and Comas, and hopefully continuing next year with the campaign, we will get enough people who understand it, that we can make a difference. And it's always this idea of having enough people understanding the concept, that it can make a difference.
So it's like my brain is now tying it to herd immunity, that we are, and not necessarily with regards to vaccination here. And I'm referring to herd immunity by knowledge. If you have enough people of a population understanding a concept, they're able to carry on that shared learning, and in that way, we actually get something, in the direction that we want to go to. So I like that. It's a transfer of knowledge by creating a pool of knowledge in the various communities. At this point, I would then like to ask Ms. Ashikoto, what are some of the gaps that still exist, and how will or do you identify these key gaps? But before you answer that question, we would like to have another visual here that speaks to parents and their interactions with their teenagers and adolescents.
Support adolescents living with HIV.
Hey Ben, is everything okay?
Can I talk to you guys, please?
Sure. What's up?
So, I had sex.
Do you want to talk about it?
I'm not done yet. I heard at school that the girl I had sex with may be HIV positive.
Did you use protection?
Well, I do feel shocked, but also pleased that you felt comfortable to share this with us. I know it's not easy to talk about these things, and I'm sure you feel very scared.
Honestly, I'm terrified.
Oh, don't be. We are your family and we're going to love and support you no matter what.
You're an idiot, but being HIV positive is nothing to be ashamed of. If you do test positive, it just means that in order to live a long and a healthy life, you'll have to get into treatment, be disciplined about staying in treatment, and get regular checkups. If the virus is undetectable, then it is untransmittable. This means that once the treatment is working properly, you won't pass on the virus to others. But you should still use a condom.
Lots of people living with HIV have healthy sexual relationships. But you have to disclose your status to a potential partner.
Everybody has the choice to say no, and it is important to respect that.
I understand. I think I'm ready to get tested.
I'll take you.
I'm proud of you, little bro.
Break the cycle of HIV. Testing, treatment, and care are the answer. Brought to you by the Namibian Ministry of Health and Social Services in conjunction with UNICEF.
Family support, that is basically the message that's coming through from that one. But we go back to the question that we had previously posed to Ms. Ashikota that speaks to the gaps. Are there still any of these gaps? And how are you identifying these key gaps?
Thank you once more for the question. Maybe before I go straight to answer the question, I would just like to mention that HIV care and treatment services are available at all health facilities in all the regions, and people are always welcome to go and use the services when it comes to HIV testing. If they test HIV positive, HIV treatment is also available at all the facilities. But irrespective of the fact that we have countrywide, availability of these services, we still find out some communities that are in hard to reach areas. And these are some of the gaps that we are still finding ourselves into. So we have communities that, are living, say, for instance, maybe like 50 kilometers, to the nearest health facility. And sometimes they find it even difficult to have transport money, to access their services. However, when it comes to activities like this one that we are busy with right now, sensitizing, the communities onto issues like this, you also find out that not everybody has access to this information that we are currently sharing. Most people that will benefit are the ones that have access to social media or TV, like we are currently, giving out this information. But you find out that those that are living in the outskirts, they are in most cases left out by this information. And these are the gaps that we still need, to collaborate with with our stakeholders to make sure that, issues like these are addressed. Not just that, but we also have a gap when it comes to educating young people living with disabilities, considering the deaf, the blind. Most of our information education materials are either in written and normal writings, and they are also in English in most of the time. So our IEC materials are not translated in most languages that are spoken in our country. And that is also another gap that we just need to explore and make sure that at least our messaging, our education reaches everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, so another gap that we have is that of low viral load suppression amongst children and as well as adolescents living with HIV, comparing to the adults that are living with HIV. So you find out that adults are doing well, most of them are virally suppressed, even according to the reports that we get. We actually are have reached the UNAIDS targets of 90% viral load suppression for people living with HIV and on treatment. But with children and adolescents, we still lag behind.
Okay.
In the 60s, in the 70s, if we are doing better. And this is a gap that we consider needing still, more work to address such a gap. So some of the contributory factors in this population is lack of support. We have seen the video that we've just watched. The support, that kind of support, sometimes it's lacking in some families. So that support, if it's lacking, in smaller children, say for instance, who need to be supervised as they take their medication, then it becomes a challenge with adherence. Yeah, so there are many other issues as children grows, reaching the adolescent stage. They are also faced with psychosocial issues, even just accepting their own statuses becomes a challenge. So disclose. So those are some of the gaps that we really need to still, work out and support our young people living with HIV.
No, thank you. Thank you. It's good to know that, awareness is being placed on these gaps. And as you embark in programs such as these, they are guided by the awareness of those gaps. Time has run out for us. Unfortunately, I always say time is not our friend when we get to this platform. But before I let you go, there is a very important question that came through our social media platform. And this one is referring to PrEP. The question is PrEP the cure for HIV and AIDS? Can we please have clarity on its purpose and effectiveness? I don't know who can take that one. Maybe Doctor?
I mentioned PrEP.
Is as concise as possible.
Okay, PrEP is not a cure. You cannot be more simple than that. Neither PrEP nor ARV is not a cure. Actually, PrEP is something that you take when you are HIV negative. So it's a prevention method.
Okay.
So if you are HIV negative and you want to protect yourself and you feel you are at risk, you can access PrEP.
Okay.
It's basically like ARVs. It's a combination of treatment that you take before getting positive, before you are infected, so that if you are at risk of getting infected, so if the virus tries to enter your body, it already finds those barrier, like drug barriers, and then the virus cannot really stay in your body. It doesn't really can get a hold of your body because there's already some drugs in your body that are fighting it. So it's not something to cure you because actually you're negative. So there's nothing to cure. It's something that you take if you are negative, a bit like a condom. Some people find it difficult to use condoms. Might be easier for them to take a pill. That's the way of preventing HIV.
Yeah.
So it's not a cure, it's not even a treatment, it's a prevention method.
Okay, okay. But is it something that can be used frequently? What is the rate of using this? You're negative, yes. You can use PrEP, yes, if you have realized that maybe you're at risk for whatever reason. But how is one then advised? What's the advisable manner in using it? For example, you have a partner who's positive. Maybe Ms. Ashikoto can help us quickly. You have a partner who's positive, and that identifies itself automatically as a risk. Do you then use it on a daily basis, or is it just a certain period before you become active, or how does it work?
Okay. PrEP should be used constantly. It's actually a pill that should be taken every day. Yeah, just like an ARV. Let me say, just like a family planning pill.
Okay.
You know, when you are trying to prevent pregnancy,
Okay.
you have to take it every day for the time that you want, that you are not planning to fall pregnant.
Yes.
So for PrEP, you should also take it for as long as you perceive yourself at risk of getting HIV. Yes.
Okay, okay. Simply put, I like the example. It is similar to family planning. You never stop. So PrEP is something of the same nature. If you perceive yourself to be at high risk, thank you very much. I hope that our questions were clear enough to provide the necessary answers to help educate those who did not know something, that have added to their knowledge. But also please be informed that the dates for the dialogue are on the 28th of November. 24th of November. The venue is still to be announced. So please do keep your ears to the ground for that. It is promising to be one of interesting shared learning, especially for the youth. Everybody is welcome. Please make sure that you make your way to these particular events when they're happening in your area. At this point in time, I'd like to thank our panelists for availing their time to be part of our show this afternoon. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. And from myself, Desire Kahiha, along with my production crew, until Wednesday. Bye-bye.